right, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. It doesn't matter because you're all going to be watching this on YouTube anyway. This is Kenneth, Reverend Kenneth Price, on Saturday, August 24th, and I am here with Rajiv, and we are going to spend the next 45 minutes. Well, the title of this Zoom call that I do every week is called Ego Backlash. And that being said, it's just going to be Rajiv and myself for the next 45 minutes to an hour. And yes, the purpose of this Zoom call is ego backlash. That being said, I'm actually going to be interviewing Rajiv. Rajiv came into I say our because I don't want to use the pronoun I, our ministry. I don't know how long ago it was, but he came on board with expressing an interest to serve, to extend. And so, well, that's the purpose of this Zoom call this morning, is to give Rajiv an opportunity to serve and to extend. I can do that with the ministry that I've anchored. And we're going to do that this morning in the form of an interview. I'm going to ask him some questions, and it's going to start off as an interview, but whatever direction it takes is going to be completely guided. So on your mark, get set, go. I want to start this Zoom recording off with the definition of ego backlash, because as you can see behind us, we both got the banner for this Zoom call. Ego backlash and beyond, riding the waves together. And if you're new to the Course in Miracles, or if you're new to any of this metaphysics, you're probably going to ask yourself, what in the heck is an ego backlash? All right, here's what an ego backlash is. Now, I've got this trusty co-pilot that it's AI. I ask it questions, I tell it what to do. And this morning I told it to give me a definition of ego backlash, and here's what it spit out. Ego backlash, the resistance after spiritual progress. Ego backlash refers to the unexpected resistance or pushback from the ego after making significant spiritual advancements on the spiritual journey. It's like waking up to find the ego saying, not so fast. I've been your companion for years, and I won't be dismissed this easily. Well, despite inner growth, the ego may actually intensify its efforts to maintain control, challenging our progress and inviting us to deepen our self-awareness. So, by the time you get to the Zoom call, you've been an ACIM student for a very long time, and the honeymoon period is generally over. We used to call that on the 12 steps. We would call that the pink cloud stage. Rainbows, unicorns, we're all one. It's all unity. And then, that's fine for a while until you wake up one morning and there's the Grim Reaper. Not so fast. All right, so we can laugh about it. We have to laugh about it. All right, so Rajiv, how you doing this morning? What do you want to either smile? Well, what do you want to share before I start asking you questions?
First of all, is it good morning, good afternoon? I don't know where you are, but I'm currently in Portugal. And here is afternoon, 5 p.m. almost. And yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you, Kenneth, for inviting me to this Ego Backlash and to be part of the ministry. There is this longing, inner calling to serve, to be, how can I serve the whole? How can I be part to someone's happiness, to bring someone's peace? And more and more, my mind is just going into that direction. I feel like the spirit wants me to connect more with people and to be there, to be present for them, and allow this vessel to be used fully for service of others. So I'm humbled with this, and I'm all in.
Well, that was basically what you wrote me and told me when we talked. So I said, all right, I'm all ears. That's my story too, buddy. After I got to this place in life where I realized nothing here works. I tried everything. I got on my knees and I said, all right, you have my full attention. What do you want from me? Anyway, enough of my story. This is about you. All right. So I went ahead and I've been cheating. I've been using AI a lot. It's great companion, great technology. So I explained to AI everything that you and I have been talking about, our journeys together. And so AI came up with some really profound questions. So you ready for them?
Please,
All right.
go ahead.
All right. The first one that comes, Rajiv, can you share a pivotal moment during your dark night of the soul? A moment when everything shifted or unraveled for you?
Can you please explain better this question? Like, was it transformational? Or how do you?
Well, I'm trying to flush out for the audience who may be watching this, something that they can relate to. And you sent me your bio, and it was a beautiful bio, by the way. You asked me, you said, can you edit it? And when I read it, I said, nope, I'm not going to edit a single word. This is perfect. You put it all here. But you shared basically that and we have a very similar story. You went in the direction of the conditioning that we all come with. And there came a point, and I can't remember the specifics, but I know the general flavor of what you shared, that it wasn't going to happen. The conventional path of conformity and conditioning wasn't in your script. And in order to follow your script, you had to step away from what many people would call the herd itself, what the herd looks like, whether it's a religion, whether it's a family, whether it's a community, whether it's a belief system. We've all had to step away from an actual herd. Now, when that happened in my script, that is someone, just step away from the herd. No, slow down. That's a heroic decision, because there's going to be what's called a dark night of the soul, and it's going to be it's going to be different for each person on their journey. It's a highly individualized curriculum, but when we step away from the herd, it's going to be lonely, it's going to be frightening, and we're going to question ourselves, and there's going to be what they call doubt thoughts all over the place, because the hero's journey is called the hero's journey for a reason. So let me go back to the original question. Can you share a pivotal moment during your dark night of the soul? A moment when everything shifted or unraveled? Now, that's just a general question. I just want to get you to begin to discuss and share. So don't feel you have to stay with the answer to the actual question. But if the question can prime the pump, I'd like to begin to hear your testimony.
Yes, so basically, of course, I was in a surrounding of whenever I went into depression, and I got blow from life, personal crisis. It forced me to ask this question: why am I here? I had suicidal thoughts. For some reason, maybe is it lack of courage? I wouldn't say, but I have two daughters, and I have wife and mother. All are ladies, and they are depending on me. Yeah, but that's in a dream, because nobody's depending on each other. I mean, but I had an identity crisis. Why am I here? Who am I? What's my purpose? And there was deep emptiness inside. And somehow I was trying to fulfill or fill it by going to different retreats, by trying to talk to therapists, by trying to speak with so-called gurus and knowledge carriers. But somehow this type of interaction would feel good at the moment, but after a week or so, the emptiness would return, the despair, the disconnection, all the excruciation, I think the word, feeling would return. So the unhappiness, the numbness, the sadness, the melancholy, all that thing, I mean, it would just work for that 1 week when I was in a retreat, and plus the following week. And so this really was not an answer for me. But there was this thing that kept me going, kept me for looking, because I had read Bhagavad Gita long years ago in my youth years, and that would extend me. I mean, keep looking until you will find it. In 2021, I was infected with COVID. I stayed home and I was reading the book Letting Go from David Hawkins, and I found there a little mention on A Course in Miracles. That triggered me to look in Google, and straight away I landed in seim.org. I started reading the preface, and aha moment happened. Like, this is for me. It talked about the miracles, it talked about the change of perception, and everything that was related. And the journey of SEIM started. It took me 1 year and 8 months to do the course. In between, I found some mighty companions, but still, I felt better, but it was not a deep, consistent peace. There was anxiety attacks, there was consistent fear. So this led me to go twice to India, to Rishikesh, and I did some retreats there. I stayed in a very small group, like 3 or 4 people. I didn't want to be part of larger groups. And I came with some tools that I keep on, using every day so that I can stay centered within myself, whatever is happening outside. But I'm able to center myself. And this brought me to experience more consistent peace. I used to have a fearful reaction. I didn't know what to do. My mind was always racing ahead of the body. And this led me this confusion between the body and mind, which was creating anxiety. Right now, my question and my inner call is to help others to slow down so that I can help them to be more and more aligned with their body instead of 2 separate bodies inside running or fighting with each other to win it, because the one who suffers is the one who's traveling inside this vessel. So that's what was my learning from this. I would say
Got it.
breakthrough.
I wanted that out of you. I got Rajiv. I've not got an actual notebook. I take notes on these Post-its, and they're all here in front of me.
But it's all in the recording, so not to worry.
I know, but I got to ask you the questions now. All right. Hi, Martin. Hey, Martin. I'm here with Rajiv. We're going to be doing an interview with Rajiv, so I'm just going to be asking him some questions for the next 45 minutes, and then we'll get to, let's see, gallery view, and then we'll get back to the normal meeting. All right, Rajiv, I'm going to ask you the next question. Now, I'm going to let this Zoom call just flow organically, but these questions were so valuable. I'm going to read them and see if just to use them to flush out more. I'm just here to pull stuff out of people. That 45 minutes would just be the tip of the iceberg for what you just shared. But let's read some of these questions that AI has written, AI has posed, and see what we can flush out with some of this. The next question is, well, you've already answered this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. AI wants to know what practices or tools helped you navigate this challenging phase and emerge into the light. Now, you've already answered that, so I'm going to go on to the next question. Okay. You mentioned a tremendous dismantling process. What beliefs or illusions did you need to unbelieve to reach your current understanding? Ooh, I like that one. Maybe we should stop there for a while. Let me kind of interject, because as you were talking, I'll share with you what when a person talks, I get visions, and I'll share with you my visions. Rajiv, you and I have a very similar parable. That's why I wanted you on board, because we were brought together for a specific assignment. We're doing this together. And I reached a point in my spiritual journey, and Martin's down there, and we'll talk about it, after the recording. But Martin and I finally realized that this is an impossible situation. That my old thinking of trying to fix it, change it, improve it, heal it, or fix, change, prove, and heal Kenneth, actually is what got me into the dark night of the soul in the first place. Because the more I tried to change the movie character on the movie screen, the more the movie character on the movie screen tried to change himself, the worse things got. Keith Kavanaugh calls it flypaper. And that adds a tremendous nuance to the spiritual awakening process, because the spiritual awakening process isn't about making an improvement or any changes, and if you can make improvements or changes, I tell you, go make improvements or changes, because that's in your script. But when a person reaches the event horizon, and like I think you've described, then we're going to have to rethink the model. And that's why this is a ministry. Because Einstein said the mind that created the problem is not the mind that can find the solution. I didn't quote that right, but I got the general gist. What happened in mine was it actually and nothing went wrong, but all of that seeking, striving, attempting, all my therapy, that's why I listen to you, therapy, retreats, travels, got me to a point where I had to get on my knees and surrender and say, I can't do this. Kenneth Stephen Price, born 4, 5, 6, 7, cannot do this. Because if I could, I would have done it a very long time ago. And I would have succeeded. And the more I attempt, the harder I fail. And that's when my prayer was very simple. There's got to be a better way. Okay. My moment of awakening was not a white, white light, angels descending from heaven, Moses burning bush. It was the discovery that I'm not the one who's having the anxiety. I'm not the one who's got the parable of abuse. I'm not the one. So I feel that on our spiritual journey, we have to reach a point where everything fails us until we get to that question. It's going to look different for each person. That's why I do these interviews, where we finally have to concede that our only real goal is to ask the questions, who are we then? Who are we? And that was when I began to make peace and surrender with this dream character, Kenneth, who will never heal, never be spiritual, never succeed. Because in the end, the dream character is gonna die anyway. So, but the success takes on a different definition. The success is discovering who I am instead. And that's the moment when Jesus entered the picture and said, finally, can I have control of your dream character now? I was trying to do it on my own. All right. So that's my parable, and I know it's going to parallel with yours. But let's get back to the questions today. I don't want to make this all about me. So let's get back to the initial question. You mentioned a tremendous dismantling process. What beliefs or illusions did you need to unbelieve to reach your current understanding? And if that doesn't prime the pump, we got more questions, but it's your turn now.
Yeah, responding to this, I would like to read something which philosopher Alan Watts said, and which he referred to the backwards law. I'll repeat the backwards law. He says that wanting positive experience is a negative experience, but accepting negative experience is a positive experience. He says that the idea that the more you pursue feeling better all the time, the less satisfied you become. As you pursuing something only reinforces the fact that you lack it in the first place. The more desperately you want to be rich, the more poor and unworthy you will feel, regardless of how much money you actually make. The more you desperately want to be sexy and desired, the uglier you come to see yourself, regardless of your actual physical appearance. The more you desperately want to be happy and loved, the lonelier and more afraid you become, regardless of those who surround you. The more you want to be spiritually enlightened, the more self-centered and shallow you become in trying to get there. So this is all what our ego wants. It wants action. It wants forced action. It wants to stand out. It wants to be special. It wants to be superior. In the end, it has its own version to be happy. Actually, the traumas and all that we pursue, try to heal, is it's not how we are training ourselves to handle trauma. We are not trying to heal to handle trauma. We are trying to heal so that we are able to handle joy and happiness. We don't know how to handle joy and happiness consistently. And therefore, this is what Alan Watts is trying to pass this message. And this is also my understanding of this going through lots of retreats. But I also appreciating going to all the retreats, because if I was not there, probably I would not reach to this conclusion. I had to travel all around to come to this conclusion that intellectual understanding precedes the emotional understanding, but emotional understanding will only come if you keep practicing and if you keep believing, instead of looking outwards. You need to stop sometime and say, enough. I had enough. I had sick enough, and it's all repetition, just faces and people changes, environment and decoration changes of the places, but in the end, it's the same thing. And I'm not looking temporary pleasures. I'm looking for consistent joy and peace, and that's what made me stop and seeking more outside.
I got that on tape. That was beautiful. All right, let's see. I'm hosting this, so let me see which direction I can steer it in, because I'm thrilled. I wanted Alan Watts to come into this ministry for a very long time. So thank you for bringing in one of my favorite teachers. Oh my goodness, we can go in so many different directions. Instead of going to my notes, let's go on to the next question that AI did. All right, here's a question they came up with. Now remember, this is just to prime the pump. If you want to go in any direction possible, I just want stream of consciousness, because that's where the nuggets are going to come out. Only the ego wants structure. Can you share an example of how you served others by inviting them to unbelief in the illusion of separation? That was a question, maybe an example of some of the service work that's already come across your path.
Yes, I help by having one-on-one meetings with people, sessions that I'm invited. I remember I met someone who asked me for my services 2 weeks ago. She was someone who is going to turn of 40 years old, and she has 2 children. She's divorced, and she was having a midlife crisis. Like, she saw herself failure in all areas. She had 3 marriages failed, and she was coming to age 40. She didn't know how she will pay the fees of her daughter who's going to enter college next year. And all this, she was entering into deep depression. And after the session, all I know that whatever the spirit told her was meant for her. And I remember saying that the way she had come to where she was, she was always provided. Either some people came, the finances came, something always had happened in the right moment. So what makes her sure that in the future that won't happen? The 3 failed marriages, it had to fail for the person she has become, the humbleness that she has gained out of all this process. And for the fees, when the time comes, the money will also appear. In the end, I just saw the transformation, because this was again coming from spirit to her. Lots of details only spirit knew about her. And so for me, I could see the transformation really. And this is the way actually I speak to many people. My job, or at least I serve as trying to help people coming from the darkness to light. And how can I possibly help them to be, in a consistent traveling in the light instead of in darkness.
As you were talking, of course, I'm continuing to write notes and deciding which questions to ask. All right, this is perfect. 3 failed marriages. This is why it's so difficult to host these calls, because you got to be very careful with this. Is why it's difficult to be anybody spiritual, because we got to be very careful with our language. I remember years ago, I put a tagline, in my emails to capture truth is to learn another language. Because in the conventional sense, now I want to preface this by saying, everything that you say, we're gonna be very careful, because when we start taking outreach calls, it's in strict confidentiality. But we can do a generalized here. The general is that I wrote down is a person would think that I had 3 failed marriages. The ego would say, you failed 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, as Calico Hickey would say, she would say it to me. I hope she watches this. Spirit, help me see it from your perspective. That's the prayer. She says, Kenneth, you have to pray that 7 times 70 all day long. Spirit, help me see it from your perspective. Because I don't think Spirit would use the word failure. Spirit might use many different words, but failure, I don't think, is the one Spirit would use.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
we're all brought together for teaching, learning assignments, and when those teaching and learning assignments are complete, we're not supposed to pretend like we can't fool ourselves. And when it's over, we're going to have to go on to the next.
I mean, what I say, Kenneth, it was her words that she failed 3 times. I'm here not saying any person's name because this is confidential. But one thing is, whatever that came out, I hardly usually remember what comes out to that person, because the message is for that person. It's to embrace of everything, take responsibility of every feeling that you own. Blaming or whatever that is, that the person was blaming each person, the life, the everything. In the end, the person embraced all the feelings and felt some deeper peace. That is more important, that in this journey is to take ownership of your feelings, thoughts, and everything that it's part of you. It's your creation.
Okay, that's perfect. I knew this is perfect, Rajiv. The minute we start going down these avenues, it's the nuggets are coming up, because what I heard you say is now on this journey, because this journey is not going to be done from the intellect. We'll start there, but we're going to find out how limiting that is. That's the old paradigm. We've got to feel these feelings, and this is going to be difficult, because the old conditioning. We're building bridges here from the old to the new, as if it's new. But anyway, for us it's new. We're building a bridge, and the intellect wants to judge those feelings, wants to categorize those feelings, wants to judge those feelings. Now, what I'm hearing, as I move, across my bridge, is I have to simply allow the feelings and trust. And I'll even go so far as to say turn them over. That's why this can't be done secular. Martin and I went through that, weeks ago. Cannot do this without trusting in the unseen. God, Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, Ganesh, the doorknob. But the intellect's not going to solve this. It's got to be done. And you are now getting glimpses of it, because what I just heard you say is that you don't know where your words are coming from anymore. Perfect. We're not supposed to know, but they're supposed to come through us. And this could not be bolstering up our ego, because the only way it can come through is if the ego gets pushed aside. The ego will come back in, but you got it, buddy. What you've noticed is that Spirit speaking through you, and that's why I wanted you on board. I want this testimony.
Thank you.
As we used to say in the 12 steps, how it works. It's not new material. I mean, the 12 steps were saying this back in the 80s, but you know, no one's going to cross that. You know, they're gonna tinker with that bridge for years and decades, sometimes even lifetimes. Like, I don't want to cross that bridge. No, I don't want to cross that bridge. No, I want to stay on this side. I want to stay. Finally, Spirit says, you know, either piss or get off the pod, and Spirit's going to throw us across. Let's get on to the next question. Oh, here's a good one. Here's one I like. Could you share an experience related to shadow work? Those treacherous depths where ego confronts its own illusions. The reason my ministry is not real popular is I like to talk about the shadow.
Well,
people say, no, it's all an illusion. Well, yeah, it is an illusion, but right now, you know, if you want to go down in the depths of your subconscious, you're still believing in it. And if you tell me you're not, then then you're in a big bunch of denial. What? Go.
Yeah, please. Are you
it's your
finished?
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stop talking.
Basically, shadow is very important in order to reach to the gift, because it's the portal. It's the very portal you need to pass on. It's like I tell you, if you want to cook, how will you cook if you don't get fire? Sometimes you will burn, but it's a part if you want to have food cooked and enjoy the nice meal. So the shadow is the same thing. You have to allow all the feeling, allow, accept, embrace, and release. The minute, if it's fully expressed inside you, fully you have allowed it, you have acknowledged, it will show up its gift that is hidden inside. It's the treasure. But there is no way to bypass it. You're not going to get the gift. You will not reach to the insight or breakthrough if you do not pass the shadow. So that shadow is very important. Without it, there is no transformation.
You just came up with the title of this Zoom call. How will you cook if you don't get fire? I'm sorry. Everyone knows that I mean, my testimony is all over, hundreds of YouTubes, and part of my testimony is Dale. Part of one of my teachers has been Dale Crow, who's going to be getting out of prison this year. Was put into prison 20 years ago for murder. Now, he's used those 20 years as an ashram and maximum security. He doesn't mind me mentioning. I've gone public. We've had over 100 pages of our correspondence, published on the internet. He calls it the burn. He says, Kenneth, we just got to sit in it. Sit in it. And that's what I heard you say too. A lot of Course in Miracles students don't want to hear me talk about the burn. That's fine, because it is going to be on every path. Now, I guess what we're here to do is not to frighten anybody, but to share how to lubricate the actual birth canal itself. If we apply enough Vaseline to that birth canal, we can slide through it. Those of us who didn't have these tools, Martin's smiling. I know it's kind of a disgusting analogy, but think about it. If we can share with each other these testimonies, then when it arrives for somebody else, they can slide through to the other side by practicing the ancient principles of non-resistance and allowance. But that's our role here. So, learn from my mistakes. I went down kicking and screaming, but that wasn't a mistake because, I got so much wisdom from all that I started a ministry. I wouldn't be a minister if it hadn't been for all that kicking and screaming. All right, so let's go on to the next question. Here's one. What role do you believe mystics play in today's world? How can their insights and experiences benefit humanity? There's one.
Can you repeat the question, please, Kenneth? The first.
Let's see. No, here it is. AI is asking, what role do you feel mystics play in today's world? And how can our insights and experiences benefit humanity? Oh, this is good. This is bringing it to something practical. Here we are coming up 2024 to an election. Everyone's talking about it. All right, then we're off mystics. We're not just sitting in caves, contemplating our navel. How are we benefiting humanity?
See, first of all, those who wants to benefit humanity, they are missing the point already because that's an ego agenda, not a spirit agenda. Because spirit will dictate who will benefit and who will not. The people who will come your way, it's not up to you to decide. That's what the course says. And I do not have to worry from where the people will come and what my role should be, where I should be. I will be told when and where I need to be and whom I need to serve. I have personally, Rajiv, have no agenda. And if I have, then it's an ego playing. And I just have to be that conscious and that centered enough to know when the spirit is talking, Rajiv should not be there interfering.
I like that answer because that's perfect. Because on the other side of the bridge, from our conditioned self, from our caterpillar self, even most of the religions say we've got to improve this, folks. We've got to change this. This is not acceptable at some level, and if it's not acceptable, we've got to take action. Now, that's based on the premise that something is going wrong. Now, this is going to get a lot of flack. Of course, something's going wrong. Look, there's genocide. Look, there's hatred. Look, there's school shootings. This it puts into our plate a tremendous responsibility, because now we're being called to be the way showers. Instead of fighting that, we've got to love. Isn't this what all the mystics and the prophets and the avatars told us? Our role now is to love.
So basically, as you said, the role of mystics are basically there. I would say I am, God is my shepherd, and I need to be wherever I am asked to do and whatever I need to speak. The more relaxed I am, the better I am able to serve. Because I have no agenda. If a person gets insight, it's fine. If it doesn't get insight, it's fine. It's not up to me. It's spirit speaks from me to that spirit that is inside you, which is same. So spirit knows what is needed for other person to heal. Rajiv have no clue at all.
So what I'm hearing you say is that spirit's going to plant seeds, and it's not up to us to make the seeds grow. This is something else I want to bring up. People really glibly enter into this. Oh, I want to be a mystic. I want to be a Course in Miracles student. Oh my God, slow down. Once Jesus takes control of the car, he's not going to follow a logical linear path. What are you doing? Why are you taking me here? Why are we going here? This is off the freeway. No, this is a dirt road. No, this is an unpaved road. I don't have four-wheel drive. So we got to trust. We have to. And that's going to be what?
There is no other way, Kenneth.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, because the more you want to control, is the ego wants to control. Ego wants to have agenda. Ego wants to have his own vision and do things its own way. You need to surrender everything. The miniature thoughts, the plans, even the ethics, the moral, everything that you have learned, you need to flush it out. You need to go to the place of emptiness, total emptiness, nothingness. You need to travel to that path to reach to the light. And trust that everything that will come from there, it's only in harmony and peace for all. That includes you.
Okay, now this is good. This is good. Now I'm gonna be doing some very earnest requests. Can you come up with some examples in your own life how this has had to unfold for you, for the YouTube audience to get a window into your parable of just that, because that was beautiful and that was profound and that was deep and that's essential. I want this interview to contain some really rock solid examples of just that.
You want example of some
Yeah,
experience, kind of?
yeah. We can't talk generalizations. We have to bring it back to our own parable. That's all we got is our own stories.
Okay, so for instance, I was, in a deep pain, despair in Africa where I was living, and I was told by a friend to go to India, but I didn't know where to go in India. I mean, I kept looking for retreats, centers, and I went to a center near Rishikesh somewhere. But for 9 days, I was not happy. It was a big center, lots of people, and I was somewhere lost inside. And I prayed to God, show me the way. I even cried almost literally every day alone in the room. And somehow I met a person inside that center who was also not happy, but somehow she had seen a center somewhere 20, 30 kilometers from there. And that person took me there. That's where I got connected to the teacher there. And literally, I was guided, basically. I had no plan when I went to India. I mean, I just knew that I entered into an ashram, which I found in the internet, which was not the way, not the center for me. But somehow that person I had to find there, which was not in my mind. But I had to trust I was going somewhere. So you need to give one step. One step, the next step, God will handle. That's the first step that requires courage, but the initiative has to be from your end. The initiative of faith, of trust, and the deep trust will start showing its signs, its
And it
evidence.
wouldn't have shown your signs. It wouldn't have shown those signs had you not been pushed.
Yes.
You had no alternative.
I was in deep pain, despair. I didn't know my surrounding, my family didn't know, and I couldn't tell anyone because they would not understand. Doctors would not help. I remember one video you did on cocoon of that butterfly, which says about it. And literally, I didn't know to whom I would ask for help. I had some mighty companions with whom I would share something, but in the end, my suffering was still there. Everyday morning anxiety was there. To facing the day, take one day at a time. It was not a life I wanted to live. I mean, waiting to die, and the death was still too far away. So it's a journey of faith. You need to work everywhere I went. The message is the same. You need to embrace your shadow. You need to accept your feelings. You need to take ownership. There is no bypassing. There is no avoiding. There is no jumping and creating a parallel line. You need to go through that shadow. It's the flower you will open, and the gift will come. No timelines, no pressure. Work on your pace, and one day at a time, you will be able to do it. Everyone who has gone before us, and so that's my learning so far.
You're not reading that from a book. You're not lecturing from a metaphysical teaching. Rajiv, you are sharing with us your personal direct experience, and I've got it on film. You're not telling us, preaching to us about light and how to do it. You're sharing with us this is what it looked like in your story. I don't want to hear from any more preachers about love and light and the formula. I want to hear a direct experience of what it sounded like and felt like in each person's journey. And that's what you just gave this Zoom call. Thank you. Good work.
Welcome. Thank you.
Well, there's a lot to flush out of here. But you know, we've only got about 20 more minutes. So let's see if we can get on to the next question. Okay. It's got a category. It's called the dance of light and shadow. Perfect from where we just, I love it. I'm glad you're smiling. I'm getting you to smile. AI wants to know, mystics often embrace both light and shadow. How do you integrate these seemingly opposing forces in your daily life? There you go. You're on the spot again.
Yeah, so basically they are part of the same coin, as I said before. If you want a pleasure of something, you already asking for a pain because it's a duality. And the only way is to accept the coin and transcend it. Is throw the coin in the sea and you are free from it. The minute you let go your desire for the pleasure, you are letting go the desire for the pain as well. So there is no choice. Again, I will come to the same point that we have already spoken. No agenda, it's spirit agenda. Whatever spirit choose for you, that's in harmony with your life. And you will feel peace, inner peace immediately because there is no choice for yourself. Because the moment you put yourself choosing, there is a lot of thinking. You want to see the best option possible. And actually, if you go back in your life, you will see how many best options you have chosen. And later, those best option was not really the best, did not bring the best results. You could have chosen differently, but that time you did your best. And later on, you could see that best actually was far from the best. So since I wouldn't say I'm in a constant practice of allowing spirit to choose for me, whether good or bad, I do not judge, I do not ask, I just follow. And for me, it's experience of deep peace.
Okay. I got to add to this, Rajiv. I looked at your profile. You were born in 1975, so you must be 49 years old.
Yes, 50.
And as you were talking, 50. Could you have gotten this at age 30? Could you have gotten this at age 40? No. We have to go out there, and this is what Krishnamurti said. Krishnamurti would give all these beautiful, you know, lectures, satsang, and say, "Don't believe a word I say now. Go test it for yourself to see if it's true for you." And that's exactly why I wanted you on board, because your parable is beautiful. You came to the same conclusion we're all going to come to. Doesn't work. Now, as you were sharing, I heard David Hoffmeister. You know, I heard him giggle in my head. He does that sometimes. He's good at giggling because he always reminds me that I can't tell my advances from my retreats. That would be more ego. Everything in this world, this world is upside down. This is a dyslexic hologram. When we think we're failing, when we think we're collapsing, when we think everything's going wrong, David Hoffmeister should remind us: can't tell your advances from your retreats, because everything's probably going right. Because it's all engineered for one specific purpose: to bring us home. We're not here to. Of course, in Miracles, it's great. Yeah, I'm ordained with Living Church Ministries, but the whole time it was right there on the prodigal son. Are we ready to go home now? And you were right. You said earlier, you know, our biggest fear is the joy, because we're not so frightened that our Father is going to punish us. We're more frightened of the party He's going to throw for us. I don't know why that is. I had to bring it in. I'm making this about me. So we got one more question. We got a few more minutes. Just one more question, because we're coming up on 45 minutes. Let's see what AI wants to know. The last question that AI has ties into the last question I asked you. Can you describe a moment when you felt both the dance, a shadow and light taking place simultaneously?
shadow and light. So basically, what happened is you can only dissolve the shadow by witnessing it. So when you are feeling unease or agitation or in despair, the best thing is to stop everything. Instead of doing more, that's what people do actually, is wanting to do more, unless it's really, really unbearable. If it's case in unbearable where you can't really stop, probably it's best to speak with someone, a trusted friend, a mighty companion, and release that, some of it at least, so that you start feeling a little better and come back to your practices, whether that is doing mantras, or whether that is doing yoga, or maybe that is, well, actually allowing all the feelings, that witnessing, contemplating each feeling of unease, agitation, the doubt, the worry. What is it happening? Where is it happening in your body? See the sensation, acknowledge. And as you do that, the shadows start dissolving. You start feeling the light in a form of ease, in a form of stillness, in a form of sometimes not, I wouldn't say immediate peace, but I would say some ease, some sort of lightness in you. You will not feel that desperation, and like you start feeling in panic. That's what I say. If it's in extreme, you need to speak with someone until you get some relief, and after that you start doing that work. But there is no way to bypass. There is no way to distract, because what many people do is they go and they go with the friends, they drink some wine, they go have some fun. But that is a way to distract, actually, bypassing, because the moment you come back alone, it will come back. If you distract yourself with the TV, you go with friends, that's okay, that's good. I'm not saying that it's not. But if you are running away, like David Hawkins says, if you are bypassing, trying to, running away from that experience, that feeling, it will catch up. It will catch you back when you are alone. And it has no hurry. It knows when to catch you. So the moment you face it, you start actually is not fighting with the ego, because ego is your creation, it's your baby. So you face it by giving love to that non-love is coming your way. You just witness it. You don't fight, you don't sit, let it dance, you just watch it. And when it gets tired, it will sit down.
Rajiv, this Zoom call was for me. I'm going to be playing this back, and I'm going to be editing this, because this morning you were my teacher. Thank you. And I want to wrap this up with something that I heard you say, is that it's okay to ask for help. I think actually I do want to put that forward right now, is that everything that we've discussed is not, if you can do this on a yoga mat or in your meditation room, that's fine. But if this stuff comes up, and I'm talking to the YouTube audience, if this begins to come up in your story, it is coming up in your story, maybe because it is time to reach out and it's time to ask for help. And I want people to understand, that the shadow is also not to be pulled out. We can't force it out. It's sort of like giving birth to a baby. And we will all know when, we have to spend 9 months, taking care, 9 months before the labor pains start. So we can't force the baby out before 9 months. But once the labor pains start, then the midwives come in. Spiritual midwives, J, higher power, Holy Spirit. All right. Okay, we did a pretty good, Rajiv. We've got about 47 minutes on film. What are you feeling about this? Do you want to wrap anything up? Anything you want to say before I close up the YouTube archive?
No, I have nothing to say. I'm just grateful for this opportunity, Kenneth. And
okay. And share with the YouTube audience a little bit about your counseling services, and what you have to offer, so that we can get you on board for bringing in those who could benefit from this wisdom.
Yes, I'm just putting up my website, which will be ready, let's say, within a month time. I'm also doing other works. That's why I can't just focus on the website, but it should be ready. I'm doing one-on-one counseling. My counseling is based on teachings of SEIM, A Course in Miracles, and also my own experience. I have been helping adults, also teenagers from, let's say, 15 to 18, 20 years old, who are very confused in their life about the school, about the parents, about the society. Those children who are like me when I was young, I mean, teenager, who was confused because I had these feelings that I'm in a dream. When I'm in a school, I was in a dream, and I'm in a dream studying it, but I will wake up. This is not real. And but my family would dismiss this as a, childish imagination, and I would not understand why this was happening. So there are many out there, teenagers with this type of, confusion, fear. They are not fitting in. They are alien to the world. They feel they are different. There is some inadequacy in them. They are they are outsiders. They don't belong to this world. So I'm here to help them, and also to other people who are having midlife identity crisis and all these things. But again, it's not Rajiv, it's spirit. Whoever has to come to me, they will feel the call, and I'm here to help. Yes, I'm here to serve whoever comes in front of me, and it's all love and peace. Yes.
Do you remember, maybe you don't, I don't know, do you remember that 1970s, 1980s game show called Family Feud? Richard Dawson. And my mother used to watch all the game shows, and then they would get the game show. So the audience has to get, the participants have to get real animated. And they would say, "Good answer, good answer." So I'm saying to you, good answer, good answer. All right, that's it for this Ego Backlash and Beyond, Riding the Waves Together on Saturday, August 24th. I've been here for the last, about 50 minutes with Rajiv, and we've covered a lot of territory. So if you're watching this on YouTube, leave your comments below. And also, Rajiv has given us his services, and I'll share with you my services. I'm Reverend Kenneth Price, and I have my own website, reverendkennethprice.com. And I also, like Rajiv, I do counseling. I'm very much like Rajiv in that it'll be channeled out. I'm a minister. So I do take the outreach calls, do counseling for trauma and intuitive guidance and support and encouragement if you're going through the shadow. So Rajiv and I are both available if this rings true for you and you want to reach out for our services. So, like I said, leave your comments below and visit the website that I've assembled, and I'll give you all of Rajiv's contact information down in the description line. And that's our Ego Backlash Zoom call. Thanks, Rajiv. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for the recording. God bless, and may the force be with you. Turn the recording off.